The psychology of a serial killer is not just disturbing, it's calculated. He looked like the kind of man you would trust. He was handsome, well-spoken, carried himself with an air of confidence that put people at ease. Behind the charming smile and intelligent eyes, Ted Bundy concealed a chilling emptiness, a psychological void that allowed him to commit some of the most horrific crimes of the 20th century. This episode delves into the complex psychology of a serial killer, using Bundy as a case study to explore how a person can appear so normal on the surface while hiding a monstrous reality. Understanding this duality is crucial. It teaches how easily we can be deceived by a constructed mask of sanity. This will show patterns of manipulation and control that define such predators. By exploring Bundy, we'll unpack key psychological traits that enabled his reign of terror, early warning signs in his childhood, gradual escalation of violent behaviors, precise methods he used to gain victims' trust, the chilling lack of empathy, a hallmark of psychopathy. See how it manifested in his actions. This isn't just academic curiosity, it's practical. Helps spot subtle, dangerous red flags before it's too late. Ted Bundy, synonymous with evil, yet a master of disguise. Law student, political volunteer, crisis hotline worker. He exploited perceptions of normalcy, operating in plain sight across multiple states in the 1970s. Welcome to Mind of a Killer. Let's do a deep dive into the mind of Theodore Robert Bundy. A reminder, dangerous predators aren't always social outcasts. Often they perfect social camouflage and move undetected. Studying Bundy is a study in profound deception and the capacity to live a double life. This examination will demystify his complex mind. Narcissism, psychopathy, a deep-seated need for power.
You're going to represent yourself, you're going to get another attorney.
I'm staying with the man I know best right now, and that's me.
We will consider his background's role, never as excuse. The goal: give a clearer lens on this case and broader behavioral patterns. Understanding why Bundy acted gives knowledge about predatory behavior and why we must look beyond superficial charm. Theodore Robert Bundy was born in 1946, and from the outside, his early life carried the veneer of a typical American upbringing. However, beneath this surface lay a foundation of secrets and psychological turmoil that likely shaped the man he would become. He was born at a home for unwed mothers, and for his first few years, he was raised by his grandparents who posed as his parents. His mother was presented to him as his older sister. This fundamental deception created an environment of confusion and shame. This early lie may have taught him that reality was malleable and that appearances mattered more than truth. As a child, Bundy was reportedly shy and introverted. Reports suggest a deeper-seated isolation. Some accounts describe disturbing early behaviors, such as a fascination with knives, including an incident where he placed knives around his aunt while she slept. These incidents are now seen as significant red flags, early expressions of violent impulses. The psychology of a serial killer often reveals such childhood indicators. Fantasies of power and control begin to manifest in small, unsettling ways. In his teenage years, Bundy worked to cultivate a socially acceptable persona. He became more outgoing and participated in his community. He was a Boy Scout. He later became involved in local politics, working on campaigns for prominent Republican candidates. This transformation was a constructed, flawless mask. He learned to mimic emotions and social cues, becoming a skilled actor who projected respectability. This ability to blend in would become his most dangerous weapon. He attended the University of Washington and studied psychology. He had a long-term girlfriend, Elizabeth Kloepfer, who called him kind and loving. She also felt something was deeply wrong. He volunteered at a suicide crisis hotline and was praised for talking people down. This is the terrifying paradox. Bundy could counsel others on life while simultaneously harboring an insatiable desire to destroy it. A stark disconnect between outward actions and his inner world. Bundy's criminal behavior did not begin with murder. Like many violent offenders, his actions followed a clear pattern of escalation. a gradual progression from less severe to more heinous crimes. In his late teens and early 20s, he engaged in voyeurism, prowling neighborhoods at night to peer into windows. It indulged fantasies from a distance, a training ground for more direct assaults. The next step was burglary. He broke into homes, not for money. He stole personal items, underwear, photographs, kept as trophies. Serial killer psychology often includes a fetishistic element. For Bundy, those items became tools to objectify and dehumanize, making it easier to inflict harm later. The leap from burglary to assault and murder was the final, devastating stage. Starting around 1974, women in the Pacific Northwest began disappearing. Bundy used a chillingly effective lure. He often feigned injury, wearing a cast, using crutches, asking women for help carrying books, or loading items into his Volkswagen Beetle. The tactic preyed on kindness, turning compassion into fatal vulnerability. As his spree continued, he grew bolder and more prolific. He expanded his hunting grounds: Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Florida. The sheer number and spread of crimes made linking cases difficult. Each murder refined his methods, but the driver stayed the same: absolute domination and possession. He consumed their lives, identities, and futures to fill a profound emptiness. This relentless escalation reveals the addictive nature of his violence, where each act briefly satisfies a craving for power, demanding another, more daring crime to follow. The investigation in the Pacific Northwest was initially fragmented and slow. In the 1970s, police from different jurisdictions rarely shared information, and the idea of a traveling serial killer wasn't widely understood. Detectives worked their cases, but failed to see striking similarities. The victims were all young, attractive, women with long hair parted in the middle. They often disappeared in broad daylight. A crucial break came from Elizabeth Klopfer. She contacted police repeatedly starting in 1974. She told police about her boyfriend Ted. His Volkswagen Beetle matched witness descriptions. She mentioned strange behaviors, unexplained absences, and found suspicious items: crutches, a meat cleaver. This was the shocking oversight. Police had the killer's name, his description, and his location. The tips were buried among thousands. In August 1975, in Utah, a highway patrolman stopped Bundy. The officer searched his Volkswagen: a crowbar, a ski mask, rope, handcuffs. This was tangible evidence. Bundy was arrested for possession of burglary tools, a minor charge, but now on law enforcement's radar. The arrest cracked his facade. A random stop brought the phantom-like killer into the light. After extradition to Colorado, he chose to represent himself, gained access to the law library, and during a 1977 recess, he jumped from a second-story window and escaped. He disappeared into the mountains, captured 8 days later. 6 months after, he sawed a hole in his jail cell ceiling and escaped again. He fled to Florida. His rage culminated in a final brutal rampage. He was captured in 1978. These escapes showed his intelligence and a narcissistic belief that he was smarter than his hunters. At the heart of Ted Bundy's horrific actions lies psychopathy, a profound lack of empathy, a penchant for manipulation, a grandiose sense of self-worth. Bundy did not feel the pain of his victims. To him, they were objects, instruments for his gratification. Bundy could cry on a crisis hotline and then, hours later, bludgeon a woman to death with no sense of internal conflict. His malignant narcissism fueled a craving for the spotlight, acting as his own attorney, granting interviews from death row. He lied effortlessly, not just to cover his tracks, but for the sheer pleasure of deceiving and manipulating. Bundy's crimes were meticulously planned. He stalked, learned routines, engineered scenarios. The fake cast and crutches were calculated theater to exploit social trust. This methodical approach reveals a mind terrifyingly in control. His violence pursued absolute power and possession. A crucial element: trophies and souvenirs. Jewelry, a driver's license, even more gruesome mementos. These objects let him relive the crime, re-experiencing power and excitement long after. By possessing a part of his victim and returning to remote sites, He maintained ownership, extending control beyond death. Beyond physical trophies, infamy itself became a trophy. National media, the Florida trial as his grandest stage, all point to the same core driver: a desperate and unending need to feel powerful. The case of Ted Bundy provides a chillingly clear summary of the psychology of a serial killer: childhood secrets, isolation, masked by charm and normalcy. A clear escalation, a need for control, and an investigation hampered by mobility, ultimately cracked by arrogance, a chance traffic stop, and persistent suspicions. We can dissect the how, but the ultimate why remains locked in the mystery of human consciousness. But this wasn't the only case like this. What creates a disorganized killer? Like and subscribe to find out.